Okay, guys, this one will be interesting, but this one's kind of tough for me to watch. This is from Tap Out Corner. It's 20 minutes of the worst WWE injuries. It's not fun watching people get injured, and I think it's just the connection of it doesn't matter at what level you were wrestling on, whether it's in the at the very top of the WWE or down in the indies, you feel that kinship with one another where you just don't want to see anybody get hurt. And well, I should state, you don't want to see anybody get injured. Wrestling always hurts. Every bump hurts. We all know we're going to get hurt. Nobody wants to see anybody get injured. So it is kind of tough to watch. As I said, this is 20 minutes of injury. So we'll split this one in half because by the time I stop so we can have our reaction and our conversation and breakdown about everything, it makes for super long videos if I don't split them. Here we go. Let's see.
WWE might be scripted, but if you think wrestlers don't get seriously hurt, well, keep watching.
Yeah, I
Ready
think
for a shot at the Raw
most
Women's
people are aware
Championship,
the injuries are real.
She was worthy of being a champion. What better way to do that than by taking on Nia Jax live on Raw? She had a good match, but at one point,
it's just unfortunate that there's several there are several incidents involving Nia Jax that could be on this list, and that's
Ripley
unfortunate.
accidentally cut Jax near her eye. As the fight continued, the cut became worse and worse until almost half of Nia Jax's face was covered in blood.
Oh, I thought they were going to talk about Nia sitting on Rhea's chest. I mean, I'm not making excuses for anybody by any means, but cuts happen all the time. There are so many different ways you can get cut. You guys know the phrase. It's just called hard way blood. I mean, those are unfortunate, but again, as I said, lacerations, you stitch them up, put a butterfly on them, whatever,
Luckily,
and
the
go about your
Irresistible
business.
Force was able to finish the match. However, she ended up losing when Rhea Ripley rolled her up for the 3 count. The SmackDown Women's Championship match.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, one of the reasons we gig across the forehead or in this area is, up in here, it's skin. That's it. You're not going to cut anything vital, and it bleeds a lot, and it looks good. Even though they didn't do that on purpose, I wouldn't. Outside of, unless you get your eye actually cut,
At WrestleMania
it's a laceration.
was
Happens.
phenomenal.
Don't
Sasha
call it
Banks
serious
and Bianca Belair destroyed
by
each
wrestling
other
standards.
and would do anything to win. However, when the boss tried to mess with Belair's hair, that was going too far.
What
It
a
was just
pop.
as painful as it sounds.
Yow!
Immediately, Banks had a mark where Bianca Belair's hair whipped her.
Oh.
Luckily, the match was over shortly after that. This next injury wasn't caused
Yeah, that's ooh. Well, I'm sure that one was a work. I mean, I'm sure that was what they had agreed on. But man, hair lashing like that—that's that stings.
by a move at all.
Wow.
In early 2021, the
Ah.
Hurt Business was having some issues
Ouch.
with the Lucha House Party. This led to a series of matches against the two teams. One of them was a 3-on-3 tag team match with Matt Riddle
Okay.
teaming up with Lince Dorado and Grand Metalik. While the match started competitive, MVP Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin eventually got things under control and isolated Grand Metalik from his tag team partners. One
Yeah.
mistake was all it took.
They I don't have a problem with this. Tap Out Corner. It seems like they try and present a lot of this in a kayfabe manner, don't they?
And the Luchadors able to tag
I mean,
in
as much as you
Riddle.
can.
Things went from bad to worse.
Ooh.
When MVP came running into the ring, his right knee suddenly blew out. It was clear that something was
man.
wrong, as MVP had to hop around for the rest of the match. To throw salt into
That
the wound,
sucks.
the Hurt Business ended up losing the match. Luckily, MVP continued to appear
There's no salt in the wound for that. That's what I mean about keeping They maintain some kayfabe. It's like there's no salt in the wound for that dude. That's what they're set up to do. That's what where the money was as far as the booking of that match was concerned. But that sucks. Watching anybody's knee go, because man, knees take so much healing time, and it seems like they never get entirely
TV,
better.
even though he couldn't
Knees
wrestle.
and
At
back.
WrestleMania 37,
The worst.
Sheamus won the United States Championship. To her tag team partner's rescue and kicked Asuka.
Oh, now see that's what I'm talking about. Now you see how that they abruptly switched direction there. Something was clipped out. I have to do the same thing as well. I explain this here and there just so people know what's happening. you'll make these videos, and then much later down the road, all of a sudden WWE will come up with just a small segment and say, "Hey, we don't want that here. We're going to block it." So you have to allow the system to clip it out.
Face. Baszler accidentally hit a bit too hard, and one of Asuka's teeth went flying out of her mouth.
Oh, I didn't know about that one.
Plan. Because of it, the Empress of Tomorrow had to take a short amount of time off to recover. Before Daniel Bryan...
Oh, man, that sucks. Getting your tooth kicked right out of your face. Yow. That one looks... Let's take a look at how it happened.
In the face. Baszler accidentally hit a bit too hard, and one of Asuka's teeth went flying out of her mouth.
Again, not going to make excuses or side with anybody. That was just unfortunate because Shayna was going to leave that kick short and just drive it into, her. You can see she's going to drive the toe into her shoulder, which is safe, but Asuka looked into it at the same time. That's not really anybody's fault.
Of course,
that's just
this
unfortunate timing.
Because of it, the Empress of Tomorrow had to take a short amount of time off to recover. Before Daniel Bryan was released from WWE, he had a series of great matches with Cesaro. The two gave it all,
like Cesaro.
But things did go wrong. During one of their matches on SmackDown, Daniel Bryan hit Cesaro with a huge missile dropkick shortly after the match started. Somehow, the move created a cut on the side of Cesaro's head. At first, it didn't seem too bad, but it quickly got worse and worse. By the end of the match, the cut was looking pretty nasty. Despite the loss of blood, the Swiss Superman managed to win the match.
I can only judge on my own experiences and stuff. You wouldn't even... I can show you pictorial and video evidence that you don't even think about that. Again, it's a laceration, so what? But I'm curious to see if we can see where it happened.
Their matches on SmackDown, Daniel Bryan hit Cesaro with a huge missile dropkick shortly after the match started. Somehow, the move created a...
Did I miss something, you guys? How could that have created it? That was as clean as it comes.
During one of their matches on SmackDown, Daniel Bryan hits...
I mean, right? Where's the boot? His head is far away from everything. I don't think this is where it happened. His head doesn't hit... No. That can't be where it happened.
Shortly after the match started. Somehow, the move created a cut on the side of Cesaro's head.
Nah, I think he's missing something somewhere. Something else happened.
By the end of the match, the cut was looking
after that drop kick,
despite the loss of blood,
before that shot was taken.
On NXT, Roderick Strong issued an open challenge. Perhaps to Strong's surprise, he got an answer from Russia. Ilya Dragunov took Roderick Strong up on his offer, and the two went at it. Dragunov took Strong to his version of Suplex City, but Ilya accidentally did some damage to himself. Roderick Strong fell on Ilya Dragunov's head, which caused the Russian wrestler to start bleeding between the eyes. It only got worse as the match went on, but the pain was worth it, as Ilya Dragunov won the match.
The blood sucks, but again, it's a big deal. It's a cut. It's landing on his head with your head at that angle. Wow, he's lucky he didn't...
accidentally did some damage.
To
himself.
He didn't get him clear.
Fell on Ilya Dragunov's head, which caused the Russian wrestler.
Fortunately, it looks like his head was planted,
as the match went on, but
and the weight was like at this angle above him. It didn't force his head down further.
That Dragunov needed stitches afterward. Be prepared to cringe in 3.
Come on, wrestlers needing stitches. Oh no, that never happens.
2. During a 6-woman tag team match on Raw, Becky Lynch started messing with her opponent, Bianca Belair's hair. As you just saw, it didn't work out well for Becky. Moments after the hair whip, a huge red mark formed on Lynch's stomach. It didn't put Becky Lynch out of action, but that had to hurt.
Yeah, so of course not going to put her out of action. It's a hair whip. It's just it's going to sting. It's going to hurt for a while.
Becky and Bianca would face off in the ring was at WrestleMania 38. Unfortunately, someone suffered a nasty injury during this match too. At one point, it looked like Becky was trying to perform.
I'm trying to think. That hair whip, that's probably worse than I've been. We had a number of guys that would use kendo sticks. I've been bludgeoned, beaten, slashed with kendo sticks so many times. That hair seems like it'd be worse.
Something was off, and the only thing that connected was
Ooh.
Becky Lynch's boot
Ooh,
with
yeah.
Belair's face. Despite the painful accident, Belair continued the match and ended up winning the Raw Women's Championship.
Nice.
It looked like Bianca was fine, but the next night on Raw, we saw just how extensive Belair's injury was.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're not going to be fine after that. It's got to be something. The big thing is her head didn't snap enough to get concussed. It didn't look like.
Her
Because
left
that's
eye
trust
looked
me.
terrible, but despite
This
that,
I have
Bianca
experience with.
Belair
You don't
is
want
still
any
in good
more
spirits.
concussions than.
Hopefully this doesn't mean that 2022 is
necessary.
cursed, but the very first WWE match of the year had someone getting injured. Cesaro and Ricochet
But that's
were
a
facing off
nasty
against
little
Sheamus
black
and
eye.
Ridge Holland during the day one kickoff show. Only about a minute into the match, and Cesaro flipped Ricochet onto Ridge Holland. Unfortunately,
Ooh, that missed.
Ricochet's boot landed on Holland's face.
Oh,
Ridge soon
yeah.
tagged out and wasn't seen for the rest of the match. We learned later that the botched move broke Ridge Holland's nose. Thankfully,
shit.
it wasn't too serious, and Ridge Holland was wrestling again soon.
I've always been amazed that in my career my nose never broke. And I include the years I spent amateur boxing and everything, and I've been hitting the nose. But again, through actual x-rays and different things I've had to have done because of injuries, doctors have told me that for whatever reason, my bone density is extreme, and I guess
But in
it's
a
the same
scary
with
coincidence,
cartilage.
Ridge would later botch a move that could have ended
Oof.
someone's career. While teaming with Sheamus, Ridge Holland was in a match with Kofi Kingston and Big E. Holland and Big E were fighting on the outside.
I don't
leading to
like
Ridge
this.
hitting E with an overhead belly-to-belly suplex.
He-
Big E didn't get high enough, causing his head to land on the floor. It was incredibly scary to see.
Dude, Big E didn't get high enough because he wasn't put up high enough. There's no I know there's been a lot of conversation about this. I personally, no one will ever make me believe any different. I've taken that move. I've never given it because I didn't have the confidence in myself to do it. But I've taken that. He didn't get Big E high enough for him to be able to do a complete turn. Watch some of the guys. I'm trying to give you a good example. Drew McIntyre. Watch him do it. Watch how high the guys come out of his release. No.
And the accident caused Big E to break his neck.
Oh, man.
After getting medical
I-
attention, it was thankfully
I miss Big
discovered
E
that
a
Big
lot,
E's
all the
spinal cord
time.
wasn't injured and he would not need surgery. However, as of right now, E has not wrestled since that match.
Well,
Drew
yeah.
McIntyre began 2022
There you go.
by feuding with Happy Corbin.
Now,
and
you
Madcap
watched
Moss.
Drew toss
Their
somebody.
rivalry went on for a few months and included a match
Get him up
at Elimination
with
Chamber.
plenty of
At
height.
the event, McIntyre took on Moss in
So
a
you
Falls
can
Count
complete
Anywhere
that
match.
turn.
Even though they could fight anywhere, the most painful moment of the match actually happened in the ring. The match had only been going on for a few minutes when Drew McIntyre planned Madcap Moss with an Alabama slam. Something went wrong because Madcap landed headfirst on the mat. The most
That
shocking
one-
part is
We've seen that before. That's entirely on Moss. I don't know what he was doing. I mean, I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not shitting on the guy. It's just, when you take that move, you got to lay out flat, head back. And he tucked. I don't know what he was
Madcap
thinking.
Moss walked it off and continued the match like the whole thing didn't happen. In
He's
his
lucky.
WrestleMania
He's lucky he
debut,
wasn't
Rick
more
Boogs
seriously injured, but again, that one's 100% on him.
a huge
He
honor
he
of being
didn't.
part of the opening match.
didn't,
Boogs teamed up with Shinsuke
land it
Nakamura
properly
to
at all.
challenge the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos. Shinsuke started the match, but after a bit of fighting, tagged out with Rick Boogs. Rick was running wild, but his rampage came to an abrupt stop when his knee suddenly gave out.
Oh, I
when he
saw
lifted
this one
both
before.
Usos
Oh,
on his back.
see, this
Rick
is
Boogs
that's the stuff I talk about. I don't even like seeing. Ah, poor bastard.
take that with
Jeez,
Nakamura.
that's
It
terrible.
turned out that Boogs tore his quadricep and hasn't been in action since the injury. In February 2022,
I hate
Randy
that
Orton
stuff.
and Matt Riddle found
Damn it.
themselves in a tag team match against the Street Profits on Raw. The match was going smoothly until the finish.
Oh.
Montez Ford performed his signature frog splash on Orton, but Ford's position was off and he landed on Randy's shoulder. The Viper was clearly in pain after the botched move, but thankfully it wasn't anything serious. On SmackDown, it
Oh, wow, that-
Shayna Baszler
he
moved
it
off,
just-
and he landed on Randy's shoulder.
Oh,
The
did his-
Viper splash
hold on,
Orton,
did his-
but Ford's position was off.
Did his knees get him in the shoulder? I was gonna say a flat body wouldn't have. Yep, there it is. Ah, took a hard knee to the
landed
shoulder.
on
Yeah,
Randy's
that.
shoulder. The Viper
that would
was
hurt.
clearly in pain after the botched move, but thankfully it wasn't anything serious. On
Again,
SmackDown,
that
Natalya
falls
touched
under the
Shayna
category
Baszler in
of
a
shit
one-on-one
happens.
match, but Ronda Rousey was in Baszler's corner. Baszler didn't need any help though, as she's able to beat her opponent on her own. After the match though, Rousey told Shayna the job wasn't finished yet, leading to the Queen of Spades nailing Natalya with a knee to the face. The move actually did connect though, and Natalya's nose was broken and bleeding. Unfortunately, the accident actually dislocated Natalya's nose, and it required her to undergo surgery.
Oh, poor Natty.
SummerSlam 2022 kicked off.
That looked like she fed her
And
her
Natalya's
face
nose was broken
perfectly
and bleeding.
steady.
Unfortunately, the accident actually dislocated
That one's on
Natalya's nose,
Shayna.
and it required her to
You're
undergo
trusting
surgery.
somebody not to
SummerSlam
kill you in that
2022
situation.
kicked off with Becky Lynch challenging Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship, which was a
That's a
rematch
fuck
of
up.
WrestleMania 38, which was a rematch from the previous year's SummerSlam. However, only about 3 minutes into it, Becky fell on her right shoulder. The landing caused
she
Lynch's
got
shoulder
way
to pop
too
out
far
of the
over.
socket,
Yep.
and it was clear Becky was in pain, and she kept checking on it throughout the match. The injury became more and more visible as the match progressed, but Lynch didn't let it stop her, and she got the job done. In November
Dislocated.
2022, R-Truth
Becky Lynch is tough. You got to give her that. That's got to be so freaking painful, so uncomfortable to continue working the match with that. And as far as the move, yeah, she just got, again, instead of landing flat on a face bump, she got too far over.
wrestled his first match on NXT since
sucks.
2011, but it turned out to be a bad decision. During the match, Truth performed a somersault to his opponent.
Ooh, he
on
just
the
didn't clear it.
outside. Truth clipped the top rope though and didn't jump far enough, causing him to crash hard onto the floor. The former 24/7 champion grabbed his left leg, and the referee soon called off the match.
Oh,
and
that
R-Truth
sucks.
was helped backstage.
I didn't even know about that
It was later
one.
found out that the accident tore Truth's quad, and he needed to undergo surgery. One of the
Shit. That's just an unfortunate. The guy, I didn't pay attention to who it was. He was working there. There's nothing he can do. I mean, Truth landed so short. He tried. You'd see he tried to get under him.
Grabbed his left leg, and
He
the ref
tried to
caused him
help
crash
any way he
hard
could,
onto the floor. The former 24/7 champion grabbed his left
nothing
leg,
you can do.
and the referee soon called off the match. And R-Truth
tell who
was
that
helped
is.
backstage. It was later found out
That's
that
too
the
bad.
accident tore
But
his
yeah,
quad, and he needed
that's
to undergo
nobody's
surgery.
fault.
One of the defining images of 2022
He just
was
didn't
Cody
clear
Rhodes'
the ropes.
gruesome torn pectoral muscle. But how did he
Ow.
actually get
That was
injured?
brutal.
On the Raw before Cody's Hell in a Cell match with Seth Rollins, Rhodes and Rollins got into a brawl. During the fight, Cody tore his right pectoral tendon. That was bad enough, but a few days later, while weight training, Rhodes tore the tendon completely off the bone. That's why
Yeah,
the
there you
injury
go.
looked so bad when fans saw it at Hell in a Cell.
Yep, that's the way it looks. I've told you guys I've had a lot of tears. I tore muscles in my lower back. It looked like that wrestling. And then playing baseball in an over 55 league tore my hamstring off the bone. That's what it looked like, yeah.
The reason
All
WWE
that
allowed
blood
Cody Rhodes to
stains
wrestle
and
was
makes
that
it
he
look
couldn't do any
really
more
nasty.
damage. Nevertheless, the injury sidelined Cody Rhodes for the rest of the year. This injury was pretty unique. On Raw in June 2022, Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, and Doudrop fought in a fatal four-way match.
Oh.
The winner got to face Bianca Belair at Money in
what
the
was the
Bank
injury?
for the Raw Women's Championship. At one point in the match, Morgan gave Bliss a kick to the gut, which caused Alexa to DDT Ripley. What actually hurt Rhea, though, was her own knee. Ripley's boot got caught on the rope, which caused her face to collide with her leg. It didn't seem so bad until Rhea Ripley shared a picture of the damage the accident caused to her mouth. On top of that, the injury also gave Ripley a concussion. Thankfully,
I was just going to say that. I was going to say that was a hell of a head snap, too. Whoa. Damn. Isn't that weird how so many times, too, I think in general, but specifically in wrestling, in the business, so many times you can put 5, 6 huge moves in a match, and all of them go off without a hitch. You know, huge things that would look dangerous, but you got it all worked out perfect. And it's always something you would never expect, like your own knee recoiling and taking you out that ends up hurting you.
Rhea was back in action. Not all WWE injuries happened on
that one.
TV. During a triple threat match at a non-televised WWE show, Carmella, Asuka, and Bianca Belair all faced off for the Raw Women's title. As the match was starting to come to the end, Carmella tried to pull a fast one on Belair by attacking her from behind. Bianca got out of harm's way with a backflip, but Carmella immediately crumbled to the mat and went outside outside of the
Oh,
ring.
what happened?
It appears their timing was off, and Belair's tailbone smacked Carmella's head. An image
Oh.
was later shared on social media showing exactly the damage the botch move did to Mella. Whenever weapons get involved, it's video showing off, and Belair's tailbone smacked Carmella's head. An image was
Wow.
later shared on social media.
That's a hell of
showing
a
exactly the
smack.
damage
I
the
just thought it
botch
was
move
going to
did
be a.
Mella.
I thought it was going to
Whenever
hurt her
weapons
neck,
get involved,
jammed her
it's
neck
very
getting
easy
hit.
for a wrestler to get hurt, and we witnessed
I've had
this
those
on
flashes.
SmackDown in August 2022. In the lead up to his match against Roman Reigns at Clash at the Castle, McIntyre took on Honorary Uce, Sami Zayn. McIntyre
Honorary
won the match,
Uce.
but he didn't end the night on a high note. Roman and the Usos came in and attacked the Scottish Warrior. They battered McIntyre with chairs and threw his body all around the ringside area. You could
Yeah,
already
that-
see marks forming
that
on
one
his body, but up close pictures taken backstage showed just how much damage the beatdown did to
Yeah.
McIntyre. You know an injury is bad when the match is immediately stopped and the referee throws up the X sign.
Yeah, that's brutal. I mean, when you agree to take a bunch of chair shots and just a horrific beatdown like that, that's going to be the result. But hey, if it gets you over, it gets over. That's the business. But that one's pretty extreme. Holy crap. I've had my back look a mess after matches many, many times. I don't think I've ever had it quite that bad. Not over the course of one beating anyway. We'll come back and finish this off soon.